Okay, it's time for another drawsplaining. That's when a man draws and tries to explain himself at the same time. Could be something very dangerous. I like to use these Crayola Super Tips. Let's pick one. Let's choose. Be a kid again. I like something dark. Cat hair. I like something dark. That's what happens when you have a cat, folks. The hair gets everywhere. All right, let's try this. Purple. Purple's always good. Shows up well. And I'll show you some previous ones. First of all, these are all ones I did back when I was doing them as time-lapse drawings. So I recorded them before with my iPhone, which I'm still using, but not on the time-lapse. I'm explaining, drawsplaining. So I'm doing it in real time as I always did, but trying to externalize my thought process. People seem to be interested, so. And the whole game of it, the fun of it, the adventure is you surprise yourself because you draw straight ahead. I'll zoom back a bit here. You don't pre-plan it, except maybe along certain themes. And then you just see what happens. So it's kind of like an adventure. For me, it's like what the teacher used to say in grade 1 or whatever it was. Take your pencil for a walk. You know, they give you a piece of paper when you're like just a drooling little infant in kindergarten. And they say, yeah, surprise yourself. Just take your pencil for a walk. I vividly remember the teacher saying that to me. Of course, I was kind of going like, what the heck is this person talking about? These are all characters, which I'm going to do today. I'm just going to play around with characters. And I do most of these just for fun, trying to invent variations and combinations, and always with a theme of just amusing myself. It's like that idea of draw what you'd like to see. Write a song that you'd like to hear. And that makes it fun. And I'm not worrying about like copying someone else's style. Like I've said elsewhere, in these drawings with the characters, I'm not particularly thinking about posing, which I could do and I might do. I'm more thinking about just inventing new costumes or characters or just trying to have fun. Some of it is just the tactile fun of drawing with the actual marker. And I'm getting tired of working on computers. I mean, I love computers, but my semi-aging eyes are having trouble with the glare all the time. Got to get some of those funky orange glasses or whatever it is. And anyway, what I thought I'd do is prompt myself, because I said earlier you can do different types of this drawing. You can go completely wild and just do shape-based, which I might even do in part of this if I remember to go back to it. But that's just when you draw random shapes or scribble or something, and you try and kind of read into it. In other cases, you try and visualize it as much as you can in your mind, your mind's eye, it's called, and you try and like think of something specific, and then you try variations of that. And of course, you might do that if you were given a job to design something. Say you're a character designer for a movie, well, and they say, you know, do a robot biker, you know, from planet 12 or something, then you got to think of, oh, you know, what's going to communicate that? How do I do that? But here I'm just playing around, having fun, again, giving myself permission to be a kid, which is really what it's all about. Have fun, play around. And if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, I just go, hey, it's just cheap old paper. I'm going to crumple it up and throw it out. But here, almost randomly, thinking about an idea for this video, and there are endless things. I hit on this guy, so I'm going to start there and see where I go. And any ones I do, I think of variations. So this guy, it's just ridiculous, but he's sort of a bird with a beak nose, but he's also got these nostrils the way some birds have this section of their beak. But then again, he's not a bird. Anyway, I'm going to put him over here so I can see him. I'm just going to start there. And what I'm going to do is try variations, like see what I can think of to vary the proportions, the shapes, the angles, all that stuff. Let's put him over here so I can see him. You can see a little bit of him, but I'm going to say, well, what about if that beak thing goes over the top? and still kept the same. Getting a little wobbly there. I haven't drawn today yet, so this is me going cold on the video. And then let's show a bit of this so we can see the other side of his eye. Show a bit of projection, two little beady eyes. And he's got these beaky nostrils. Now, see, I've extended it over. And then let's see here, in this one, he had these kind of, I guess that's his hair, or it could be his eyebrows. It's kind of ambiguous eyebrows, but let's make it his hair. And let's make it go out. Trying to draw rhythmically, it gives it some fun. Carry the lines through. I change my hand position to control it as much as I can. And when things happen like here, this wobble, it's just, you just go with it. Like that's part of the guy's beak. If it is a beak, let's make it a sort of beaky thing. A gap in the teeth, that makes it a little fun. All right, now let's put some headphones on him. I don't know why. Maybe because I wear them while I'm working sometimes. See if I can get that in there. And maybe they're kind of square headphones instead of normal ones. Do we see a bit of them on the other side? Let's just have a tiny bit peeking out there. Just to remind us that it's form on the other side. Kind of looks like a suitcase on his head. Let's put, do we need, I might make some wires. I think I will. Like I said, you get into trouble with these things and out of trouble. You try and get yourself out of trouble. Let's make it look not like a suitcase by putting some kind of sound, you know, so it looks like sound waves, you know, beats. And let's put a little button like you turn them on. Okay, now what I'm going to do with the rest of this guy, I'm trying to remember to leave room for this line. But if I commit, then it commits to the body. Let's make it down here. We'll imagine him being slim. So wherever this line is going to go, it's down to that destination point. Now I've limited myself to chin, but let's do some hair. And then let's have this in a pocket. It's kind of on some kind of phone or whatever, and it's in a pocket. Pockets are always fun. Rapidly running out of real estate for the rest of his body, which is why a lot of times the bodies end up being small, unless I remember not to make them small, but it doesn't matter, it's kind of fun. You can always change it later. So what kind of neck here? Let's do a sort of a bull neck. Make it, if you, like if I went in here, it would be all skinny, that would be funny. But in this case, you got to choose one, so I'm going to choose this. Kind of thicker. And let's make, in contrast, you're always thinking of contrast. Skinny little shirt. And here's the little buttonhole. And it's probably buttoned under there. Where would the buttons be? 1, 2, 3. And what are we going to do? A short sleeve shirt? Okay. Summer's coming. And what kind of arms? Again, I don't have much room, so I got to kind of keep it short. And I'll do my cheat and put his bird paw in his kind of pocket here. And because I'm doing cartoony, I'm not putting a lot of detail, you know, like not too much. You're just really dealing with big masses, big shapes, and big lines. So that's like forms, shapes, and lines. Forms are 3D, shapes are 2D, and lines are 1D, kind of like this. I'll digress for a minute. Form is 3D form. Form, there's 3, 1, 2, 3. Length, width, breadth. Then the shapes are like this. If you explode it, those are the shapes. And they can be all different shapes. And you're thinking that way too, shapes. 3D, 2D. And then you're thinking of lines like that compose these shapes. That's 1D lines. Well, I'll do that, more of that in another video, right? Good way to think, or change your thinking up. Let's make a shirt out of his pants here. Pants. Okay. So I'm going around there. Where's the rest of his? He's tucked his shirt in here, but here it's out. And where's that? Let's put it on this side. We got some pull going on there. You know, belly fat is building up. We're going to have very little room for his legs, so they're going to have to be stumpy, but that's his destiny. Yeah, all right. And he's going to have to be also destined to have tiny shoes that curve up. That makes them more fun. Is he balanced? Barely. He looks like he could tip over. And where's his other hand? Is it kind of going around here? Bird claws. All right, that's enough to just suggest that he's got another hand rather than just leave it out. Do we need some stubble or neck beard? Why not? It's always good for cheap comedy. It's not even a beard, it's neck stubble. I guess he shaved his neck. And where's the other line from the... yeah, you wouldn't see it. Okay. And that's probably enough for now. Let's do something with that. And we could put a pattern on this shirt. Why not? Let's give it some fun. I'm purposely letting it wobble. And to go with the form here, let's make it like the pocket doesn't have the pattern, but the rest of the shirt does. Just checking to make the same spacing. You can leave a few gaps here and there when it crosses the other lines, otherwise it gets a little plugged in, like too solid. And I'm letting the spacing as it wraps around the form here go a little closer. Let's make it like a grid pattern. My brain beach balls and I stop talking. Sometimes I'm supposed to be DRAWSPLAINING, but sometimes it beach balls the processor. I think we all know what that's like. All right, there he is. Oh, I need a seam. I had some kind of seam on his pants. Are they jeans? They usually have seams. Gives it a little fun. The question is always where to stop with these things. How much detail and so on. I feel like it needs something there, but does he need a bit of a puffy eye bag? Why not? Each thing you add adds or takes away something and changes the character. Let's do some more, another guy. I'll do a variation of this guy because I like the way his wacky hair goes. And then there's nose ring bird guy here, which should be fun too. But I'll probably just do two for this video. Okay, yeah, this guy has a narrow beak. And let me think of what I can do. I know. I'll go with that hair, but do a variation. Let's do it like he's got sunglasses popped up on his head. So I'm drawing those first, some kind of funky sunglasses that are disappearing into his hair. And gotta make sure I kind of get this. I could draw the hair different, but I'm sticking with this kind of sort of fluffy line work hair. It could be, curled or what have you, but let's do his, gonna gonna see if I can get this looking right. I know. The hair's folded back here. He's one of those slickster guys. Well, he's not a guy, he's a bird, but let's put the eyes close together again for comedy. Just using dot eyes. You can make all kinds of eyes and expressions, but for starters, I'm making dot eyes. It's almost like some kind of hummingbird beak. Let's make him dour. His chin's taking a downturn in life. And he's still he's still wearing those sunglasses and he's out. Has he got ears? Quick. Is there room to add ears? Or are they hidden under the hair? Let's make them hidden. He's the Mozart of... Oops. It's me hitting my lamp. It's the Mozart of birds. He's got no ears. Mozart here under his wig. All right. I digress. I put a mark by accident on here, so I'm going to just go with that. That's under the principle of if you make a mistake, keep tap dancing. And try and integrate it like, I meant to do that. I meant to do that. And I got to balance this so it looks like it's the other side of this thing. So it's kind of coming in here. And if that's the far side, then probably he's got the hair covering here and maybe a bit on the other side showing. All right, good enough for now. Let's make him frowning because he looks dour, so let's just go with that. We don't know what he's mad about, but we might figure that out. I know, let's give a funny neck here. It's almost like one of those swan-type birds where you see the long neck. Let's give him, in contrast to this, let's give him some big old lapels. And again, I'm using my bracing finger I mentioned in my other video. I'm putting all the pressure on this finger when I draw, and I'm just letting the tip, I can control this very carefully by doing that. Like if you don't do that, and you put all the weight on the heel of your hand here, it's a lot harder and wobblier, which you can use sometimes if you want like a wobbly line. But that way you can control, we'll do like a quick little demo. Like if you want wobbly things, you can go up like this on the, or dotted. But if you want real control, you go on that, and then you can swing your whole arm. And just like a ruler, you can just rule lines and control it really well because you're putting the weight on here. So again, that's the subject of a whole video, probably a longer demonstration, but that's how my mind works, and I'm trying to make these videos helpful for anybody interested, at least the way I do it. So you can come up with your own things, but there's certain of these tips that really can help a lot, like things like the way you hold the instrument really does make a difference. Let's put big sleeves and skinny arms. And to round this out, because I'm almost at 20 minutes. And I want to get to the end of this, so I'm going to make a long shirt. What do you have, gloves on? Nah. Well, actually, let's think. No, let's make these sleeves, though. Usually I make it skin, but you can't tell if they're what it is, but if I put some wrinkles, then it has to be sleeves, The wrinkles are gathered at the elbows, so it's probably something tight. And he's got fists here because he's very frustrated. No, it's not me. I don't feel frustrated. I'm having great fun drawing these. All right, let's go skinny here again. You're always thinking about like the shapes and what's fun if you're doing cartooning for fun. And let's do some I don't know, is it beetle boots? Bird beetle boots. He's got bird feet under there, so they're like long and turned out. He's toe tapping. He's like impatient. And what else can I add to make this fun? I'm pretty much at the end of this, I think, but like I said, you know, each of these you do, you can think of more variations. So like these came off the earlier ones I did last month, and it's kind of like an endless labyrinth. I mean, you could just keep coming up with new variations, but once you grasp the principle of that, like you don't have to lock in on the very first thing. You just try stuff, and let's see where it goes. Let's put a medallion on him. Just some kind of nondescript jewelry, and some kind of pocket again. And I think I'll make the other side frown too. He's really cheesed off. This is not a minor cheese. This is like major aggravation. Even rippling up into his, now that's like, lost all my savings level of concern. It's a bit, another bit of the sunglasses showing there. See, I don't want to stop drawing, so I'm trying to think of more things to add. I guess I could do pattern on this guy too. Let's do dotted lines. See, I'm just dotting with my fingers and mostly moving my whole arm. And you can do it a lot faster that way. Now it's into just dots up here. Maybe the pattern's changing. Yeah, so I like these markers because they're really juicy. The line goes right in the paper and dries, so I don't have to worry about smudging. The one thing you do have to watch for if you use these, of course, is that they're not they're water soluble. They're not permanent, so you get even a bit of water in these and they just bleed like crazy. But some of them I scan, and then that way they're preserved for that. Let's just make this a crosshatchy thing. I'll go up on the tip of this. After a while these tips degrade, they get all blunt, but this one's fairly new. But anyway, like I said in another video, it's good to stop yourself from being fussy, especially if you're learning. That way it forces you to use the big shapes. Because you can't draw, if you got a little tiny line, you can go around big shapes, but usually when you have a tiny fussy, you know, pencil sharpened to the nth degree, you're gonna get into that mindset where you want to shade and do all these little tiny lines. You're not going to usually just go around some big shape, but when you have this, you really can't get too fine. It's like using these two to draw. I'll end on this. Chunky clutch barrel pencils. You know, whoops, it's broken. But the leads are usually a lot longer. I've been using that for a long time. But anything like that, it's a lot thicker, right? So when you lay lines down with it, it's really very chunky. I read that Jack Kirby used a carpenter's pencil, which I don't have an example of, but I used to have some. They're really chunky square things. Anyway, there you go. That's my latest DRAWSPLAINING. A man explaining his drawings and trying to stop his brain from beach balling while he does it. Have fun, keep cartooning. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.